the wonderful world of ComiCostuming. I'm sure you all are aware what costuming is. What I'm going to talk to you about tonight is cosplay. It's not a sex act. It's actually the act of dressing up like somebody, most predominantly in geek culture. So the term I've come up with is ComiCostuming, which is actually the art of creating your costume that you're going to cosplay as. Now, it started actually in 1939 at a convention in New York City, where, as soon as it changes, they turned it Scientifiction Apparel. And what happened was a guy and a girl showed up dressed up like a character from the H.G. Wells movie, and then the next year, over 12 people came. There's only about 100 people there. 50 years later, a guy, Takahashi, came from Japan to an American convention, was so blown away by the costumes that he wrote about in a Japanese magazine, and then everybody in Japan went wild for it. It became a fashion street style. You can still see it there, pretty relevant. Anyway, it's become really popular, I think, because of a lot of online communities where people can get together and talk about it, and also with the mainstreaming of the popularity of geek culture, it's become a lot more predominant because we all enjoy more geeky things. It's a very elite status to be a cosplayer at a convention. They love characters, people love seeing the characters, and they spend a lot of time on these costumes. These aren't something that you just pick up from Target. So, ComiCostuming and Me, I went to Dragon Con this last year with some friends of mine, and I decided I was going to make my own costumes because I've admired cosplay for so long. And they're going to pop up here in a second, and we'll talk about them. But, Molotov Cocktease, Medusa from the Inhumans, which is a Marvel character, and then I did an interpretation of Poison Ivy because everybody dresses like Poison Ivy, so you want to be different. And I made all of these myself. Cosplay is really cool because of the amount of craftsmanship that goes into it. You can't just buy these costumes. You have to actually go through and make them. And it takes a lot of imagination in a lot of instances because people are coming up with things that they're not used to seeing. Anyway, so now that you know a little bit, I'm sure you're already put your spandex on and to actually go to a convention and dress up like your favorite character. So I've got some tips for you about it. The first one is to find a character that you want to dress up as. And there's a little more that goes into that. I chose ones based on certain aspects. Find a reference photo, and you want to do the character justice. There's a lot of people that love these characters as much as you do, so you want to make sure you do a good job of doing justice. You want to dress for your skill level. Whether you can sew meticulously or you can cut some stuff out and glue it together, you can still have a good costume and still have a good time, but don't try to take on too much because you'll end up looking like a blob. Make sure to dress for your body type. Not only does will the confidence help carry your costume, but the internet is a really cruel place and you will end up. Make sure that your hair is correct. I chose my characters based on my existing hair color because I didn't want to change it. But a wig can also make the difference. You can see this girl here versus the other one. One really carries the character and one doesn't. You're going to want to wear comfortable shoes, but you're going to want to wear shoes that work with your costume. There's a lot of people that show up dressed like Superman wearing Reeboks, and that's not consistent with the character. Another thing is you're going to get your picture taken a lot. You get stopped all the time. You can't get from one place to the other without getting taken. So pose according to your character, but also be really nice with the people taking your photos because they genuinely love and appreciate what you've done. So just be nice to them. This next slide's for some friends of mine. It's better in groups. You get a lot more attention when you dress up as a group together, whether you're all in a consistent universe or not. But you have a lot more fun and you are more likely to get stopped and get your picture taken and end up famous on the internet for good things. And have a lot of fun. You don't have to be in character when you're cosplaying. It adds a little bit to it, but either way, you're kind of dressed up silly, so you may as well have a really good time and meet some people. And basically, this is me and Doc Cameron from Venture Brothers. You can meet some really cool people. It's a really surreal, kind of dreamlike state when you're there because you feel like you're actually interacting with characters that you love. Like, who thought you would be able to meet the Tick? But you can actually meet the Tick and just talk to the Lulu from the Fifth Element. Here's some resources for you to go to if you're actually interested in doing it. Cosplay.com is one of the biggest forums on the internet to learn about cosplay. And the last one is my website. It's not actually up yet, but starting at the beginning of the year, we'll have stuff all about ComiCostuming. Thank you.
something to my baby lady, just can't believe. Got me holding you tight and wanna never